Good job. You guys are now on to section 2 of 4. So there's about 4 or 5 sections on your star. Not sections per se, but groupings of questions. So I already showed you a grouping of questions. For the first section, they're all similar types of questions that you'll see on the star. Now here's another set of questions that you'll be seeing on the star. This is section 2. Okay? All right, guys. Let's continue. Here we are. This is question 1. So a linear parent function f is graphed on the grid. Guys, you have to know by now that this is a parent function. I mean, just seeing it, it's easy to tell because it's a line that's going through the origin. Plus, it has a slope of 1. Up 1, rise 1, run 1. Rise 1, run 1. See? So it's definitely a parent function. So it says function f is graphed. This is a parent function. Which graph best represents g of x when f of x becomes f of negative 4x? Okay, f of negative 4x. So what does this mean? Okay, it means that basically your slope is what changed. Okay, your slope is what changed. So you can have instances of f of x with a number outside. When you have a number outside, that means there's a vertical shift along the y-axis, because think of like the y-intercept, okay? But it doesn't show it like that. It shows a multiplication, which we should identify as slope, okay? My parent function of just y is equal to x, okay? I was able to figure this out because, first of all, the slope is 1 and the y-intercept is 0. So I don't need to write 0 on there. I could just do y equals x. That's the parent function of this one. Okay, but now I'm going to multiply negative 4 to it. So obviously the slope just changed to negative 4. But remember, negative 4, when you have some sort of number like this, we can write numbers into ratios, okay? So a number such as this one, okay, we can treat it like a whole number, even though it's an integer that's negative. Treating it like a whole number, I can place a 1 underneath it, and it'll still keep the value of that number. Why? Because anything divided by 1 is itself. So anything divided by 1 is itself. In other words, I can write this as this ratio, and it will keep the same value no matter what. Okay? So my slope is rise over run. Rise over run. So I gotta think to myself, okay, which of these has a rise of negative 4 and a run of 1? Okay, but okay, when it's a negative slope, it's not so much a rise, but that it's going down. It's going down because it's a negative slope. All negative slopes go down. So I can eliminate A for sure. A is not a negative slope. C is not a negative slope. So I have between B and D. Okay, B and D are the only ones that are negative because they're pointing downward. Okay, if it was a positive one, then I could determine A or C be the correct answer choices, but that's not it because it was a negative slope. Okay, so here, what I like to do is I like to go from the y-intercept. And I'm going to count 4 units down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and go across 1. It looks to me like the slope is there. It looks like it could be letter B. I'm just going to double check with this one, with this letter D. Okay, so I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and go across 1. See, this missed the mark. This has a different slope because it goes down 4 for sure, but then it runs 1, 2, 3, 4 units across. This is the wrong slope. Letter B has a correct slope because it's going down. That means it's a negative slope. That's what I wanted. Plus, I went down and across 1, and that was a correct slope, just like this one. Letter D was not correct because the rise and run was not correlated, because the rise and run should have been -4/1, but in this case, it was -4/4, which is not correct. It should have been -4/1. Okay?